We actually watched some more gameplay of Elden Ring, other people playing the game, and it was interesting because there were a few odds and ends in the game that I missed so far, like a few side quests / NPC quests that I didn't complete, and a few people that I was watching did complete. And the good news is I didn't really miss anything. The things that I missed were like unimportant for my build or anything like that. But it's very interesting to watch people play the same game you've already played, especially because these people are like behind me in what we're watching. And everyone plays this game differently. Everyone plays it differently. Some people followed the graces that they ran to, the points of grace, and literally went beginning of the game, Stormvale Castle, Limgrave, or teleported to Caelid, now I'm supposed to be here, and just played it like that, and basically played all the wrong order and skipped 90% of like the items in the game. Which is hilarious. Then some people played it like they knew the order to play it already somehow, and ended up doing all of Limgrave, then all of Liurnia, then went back and did all of Caelid until they ran into the Dragon Barrow and got their asses handed to them and realized, what the fuck, why is this so different? So it's kind of interesting how everyone plays the game differently. Although it's also interesting because a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people because it's not true. Some people right now, as I'm playing this game, are criticizing my playthrough of Elden Ring, saying things such as, Phil, you're over-leveled. Okay? Admittedly, when I first started playing, I beat the main area, and I kind of went to the castle early because people asked me to. I beat the castle, and then people were like, oh, you're not supposed to go to Liurnia, you got to go back to Limgrave and do all of Limgrave. And I was over-leveled for it because I'd already beaten the castle. Okay? Admittedly, that's exactly what happened. Then I ended up going to Liurnia, and I was about the level I was supposed to be for Liurnia. But because I had a weapon that was good, the Golden Halberd, and I had built my levels and my build towards using that halberd, I was kind of a glass cannon. And what I mean by that is I was hitting for crazy damage against all the enemies and the bosses, but man, they were also hitting me for crazy damage. So the boss fights were actually kind of suspenseful, because it was like Phil's whooping their ass. Oops, he took a hit. Now he could die at any moment. You see? So it was good in that regard. I felt that it was actually, like, exciting. But at the same time, whenever there's a game, when I'm not constantly failing, these idiots will say dumb things like Phil over-leveled or grinded and he did it the wrong way. Completely wrong. I've been watching various people play, okay? One person is painstakingly taking their time to do everything in order, so everything's kind of the right level for them. Another person went way ahead and was actually taking on all of Caelid early. Then they backtracked and ended up doing the earlier stuff, and now they're like, shit, I guess it's not that fun because I kind of beat it, but that's kind of the pitfalls of an open world game. I mean, yeah, the game's meant to be played however you want, especially in a first run. There's no way to know what order you should be doing it or whatever. Luckily for me, I have you guys and your guidance and feedback to help me with my playthrough to kind of understand the intended order of the game. It sure would be great if FromSoft would have explained that better, which they did not do a good job of. But yeah, like, the funny part is, again, everyone who's kind of playing the game, and even the pro-level players who I've seen playing the game, are saying there's no right or wrong way to play the game. If you get under-leveled for an area, what are you going to do? If you're over-leveled, what are you going to do? It's not your fault. I'm not even kidding you. I saw 2 pro players playing this game at a very accelerated pace. They basically were playing this game, like, I'm not kidding, like 12 hours a day since the day it came out. So they beat the game within like a week. But their runs are boring. I mean it. Like, what they typically tend to do, they find one weapon that they like, they stick with that weapon and just play it for the rest of the game. They don't really mix it up. They're like, that's my weapon, I'm going to put every upgrade material into it, I'm going to have my build based off of it, and I'm just going to pound the fuck out of everything till the end of the game. Whether that be magic, whether that be a giant greatsword, whether that be a, you know what I mean? Whatever weapon it is that they select, this is my build for the run. And then, once they're done with that run, okay, then they focus on, okay, my next run, I'd like to do something different. Whether it's, a skill-based run in this regard, or maybe I'm going to use all these Ashes of War this run, or maybe I'm going to do a level 1 run, or whatever it may be. So, what's funny about this is, I'm watching their playthroughs, and I'll be honest, they're boring. A lot of these guys are better than the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're actually so good that most of the time when they encounter a boss the first time, there's no difficulty. They could, oh, I see the pattern. Dodge, dodge, hit, dodge, dodge, hit, dodge. Oh, beat him second try. Only reason I died the first try, because I only had one flask by the time I got to the boss, right? So that's what I mean, like, and by the way, here's another thing, too. Flavio in the stream chat says, jump R2, jump R2, jump R2 everything. That's how you play the game. I'm not, like, that's exactly how you play the game, unless you've beaten the game, and now you understand, like, a build, and you're going for something more specific or more refined. Literally, jumping attacks is how everyone is playing this fucking game at a high level. Without exception. The top players have figured out it's just jumping attacks. It staggers everything after 2-3 hits. Just do it, and that's the game. You know? So this is what's funny to me, because, again, these are the top guys. These are guys who, like, you know, first week the game was out, they were getting 50,000 views on streams on fucking Twitch. These were guys who were, like, are promoting the game, who are getting paid to make guides for the game and ongoingly cover the game in multiple runs. They got exclusive partnerships with FromSoft to make content on the game. And literally their playthroughs are nowhere near as exciting as someone who's not a top player, because there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, by the time they get to, say, the 4th area of the game, which I haven't seen yet, I didn't spoil myself, I just want to make that clear, they're already just pounding everything into submission with one hit. So, wow, how exciting, right? Like, wow, it's really just, you know, great to see you destroy every single enemy because you had one weapon, you didn't switch, you over-leveled it, and now you just destroy everything with jumping attacks. That's the game. And that's what, like, most of them have done. At least for their first runs. Again, I think what it is with the appeal of a game like this is it's going to be your second, your third, your fourth run that ends up being super exciting once you see the game mechanics and you understand how you can challenge yourself to do something different. The problem with that is the fucking game is over 100 hours long. I'm not just an Elden Ring content creator. So I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, I played the game one way the first run, then change it and do a second run immediately, a challenge run, and then another run and another run. When I beat Elden Ring, I'm not playing it again, at least immediately. I know some people have already expressed interest to see me go through the game and do alternate builds, like a magic build, which I'm not really doing. I'm doing more of a hybrid, strength and faith. Okay? So I'm thinking, yo, maybe eventually I'd like to go back to a sorcery build. That sounds fun to me. But I'm fucking not doing it right after I beat the game after playing it for so long. Right now I'm 60 hours in and people are like, you're about halfway through. Oh, so this will be a 120-hour playthrough I'll probably finish in May. So that being said, you know, what's funny to me is these idiots who sit here and criticize and yell at me. And like I said, I really have had my eyes opened for the first time, really watching along other people playing the same game that I'm playing while I'm playing it, to see how different their actual audience can be with their attitude towards them. Even though some people admittedly said that's kind of boring because you're steamrolling it, they're like, we understand because this is how the game is played. You know, you're going to go back later and do it a different way. To give you some perspective, think about my playthrough, okay? In my playthrough, number one, my health is underleveled. It is. My health is much lower than likely it should be at the point I'm at. So things are able to, like, 1 or 2 hit me in these harder areas. Number two, I'm using more than just one weapon and build. I'm using the magma worm fire flame fuck sword, whatever it's called, and that I'm using for standard gameplay for, like, you know, the dungeons and enemies and stuff. And I like its moveset, although admittedly it's not the best. I still think that it's fun and challenging. I'm using the golden halberd with holy damage for major boss fights. If I can't beat it with the magma sword, I switch over to the halberd, which seems better, but I'm purposely not playing the entire game with the halberd because admittedly it seems like it's a little bit too OP, right? And then I'm using faith magic. So that way we have variation. So I'm ranged, I got that. Up close, I got that. Fire, got that. Or if I want to switch to holy, got that. So you see what I'm saying? I've got all these variations in my gameplay style. The 2 other playthroughs that I've been watching of pro players are not doing that. They're literally doing one thing, over-leveling it, and pounding the fuck out of the game the first playthrough. Not even fun, honestly. But I think it's more of like when you watch them, it's kind of like, okay, you're like studying the game. as opposed to watching me. It's like entertainment value. Like, I'm going to die a million times, and that's okay. Oh, by the way, they die a million times too, but there's no fucking death counter, and no one razzes them for dying a bunch on a certain boss. There's been certain bosses in this game that I steamrolled, and they had a hard time with. There's been bosses they steamrolled, but I had a crazy hard time with. Crucible Knight. So anyway, it's fun to see other people play the game like this, but at the same time, it opens my eyes to the criticisms and things that I've gotten. I'm like, they're not even valid. These are people who just want some specific level of perfect playthrough where they can sit here and deride me, and that's not what the game is fucking about. I'm having a good time playing it the way I am, and I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that I am doing variety. By the way, if I happen to find another weapon that looks cool and is for my build, then I will use it. If I find a strength, faith, a little bit of dex style weapon and I like it, I'm going to try it. It's just that right now I have two kind of go-to weapons that I'm alternating between that I'm really enjoying. Okay? Okay. So, Elden Ring continues today on the main gameplay stream. Alright? And I'm excited for that. So anyway, yesterday, to finish up my Phil's Day Off recap, I watched a lot of Elden Ring with my wife, and we relaxed. We had Mexican food for dinner. We each ordered a giant burrito of different styles. These are not typical burrito you're thinking of, where you pick it up with two hands and eat it. These are like fork and knife burritos on a giant plate that you have to cut up and eat because they're so ginormous. I guess what you would call them is like smothered burritos or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they were crazy good. And that was our day. Not too much to speak of outside of the numbness of my stupid hand. It was a pretty laid back day, and I was actually having a good time with it. I was like, wow, this is good. I needed that day to relax after this stressful week of playing Elden Ring every single day. All right, so Phil's Day Off, not super exciting. Okay, let's continue. What wet burrito? Is that what they're called? Wet burritos? Okay, that's probably what it is then. Wet burritos. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the schedule for this week, and this is going to get us into a major topic that I want to talk about today. Okay, today's streams, it's Elden Ring on the first stream, and we're going to be exploring the 3 optional side dungeons that I have now unlocked. One of them is the second half of the underground well in Sophria River, which I think it was called like Nokron, the Eternal City. We beat the first half. There's a whole other second half to do that I didn't do yet. There's also another underground well that we had been to originally when I went to it. If you remember, I fought these giant ants, and that was the Dragonkin boss that was under there. Well, this is the other half of that dungeon. I don't know what to expect, but apparently it's pretty crazy from what people are telling me. So there's another half of that dungeon. I don't even know exactly what it's called yet. And then on top of that, I'm now in the upside down, like, Kara study hall. If you remember, originally there was a tower that was outside of the academy. That there was a sorcerer that was a troll, and I couldn't kill the sorcerer because they kept teleporting away and running away and kind of sniping me with magic. And everyone basically told me there's really no reason to kill that sorcerer anyway because there's nothing in that tower right now. You have to complete a quest line. So I did complete the quest line. The tower flipped, and now I'm inside this tower, which apparently is a 3rd optional dungeon. So that's currently where I am right now, and likely that's where we'll pick up. Is we'll just go with that tower for now, and see how it goes, and go from there. So we've got 3 cool optional dungeons to check out. We'll start with 1, see how it goes, and continue on. I am well aware that at this point in the game, I could go to the 4th area of the game. I already unlocked a waypoint up there when I completed climbing through that giant mining tunnel with the magma worm at the end. And I think it's called the Atlas Plateau, and I think that's where I'm supposed to go next. So I know where I can go for the story, but obviously with 3 giant areas to go, I think I'd like to check those out first. So that's what we're going to be doing, okay? How are you doing, my guy? I'm wondering what's your opinion on Soulsborne elitism, especially on YouTube. Your opinion is greatly valued. I've already talked about this a million times, that Soulsborne elitism is absolutely ridiculous because Soulsborne games are not competitive. They're not multiplayer. It's one thing if you want to be an elitist about how a game should be played in a competitive aspect. No one is competing when they're just simply playing a Soulsborne game. If you're someone who puts yourself out there as a content creator and you're saying, listen, I'm trying to prove that I'm the best speedrunner, I'm the best build master of this or that, that's one thing. But if you're just playing the game at face value and trying to have fun, okay, that's stupid. Why are you going to gatekeep and tell people they can't play a game and enjoy it the way that they want to enjoy it?